Coiling and releasing basically is there's a rubber band that connects down here all the way around the stuffed animal to here. So as we shift and coil, watch what's going to happen, okay? I'm just going to let go. And it goes. So coiling is basically the shoulders turning, the chest turning against some form of resistance of the lower body.
This may be an outtake, but this is the most epic segment of the Best Golf Podcast ever. Well, welcome to episode 14 of the Best Golf Podcast ever with the absent Mike Hendricks.
And trying to fix the lighting in here.
Don't worry about lighting.
Still some sun out.
Yeah, this where I'm sitting right now, certain times of day, it's really bad. You've got you see like the blind
in the background.
Yeah, I have a virtual backdrop. You guys don't need to see I'm in my bedroom. You don't want to see that. If I turned my background off right now, you would see really quickly that I'm a single guy. It's the most obviously single guy apartment ever.
Well, I'm in my video game playroom for the kids, and I've just got Spider-Man comic cover and Pokemon. That's all I got.
Nice. It's a good
I love it.
Well, guys, good to see y'all. I had a lot of fun at Sully's last week with our Best Golf Podcast ever Christmas party, whatever we called that. That was a lot of fun. Shout out Sully's, our the left-hand challenge, which, I just want to point out that I didn't
I don't even go there. I was already thinking about a rebuttal because you're going to brag about beating us. And I'm like, you play 30 hours a week at Sully's.
And but never left-handed. Never left-handed.
But you putted right-handed.
That's because I can't help your ambidextrous.
My virtual putting was my bugaboo.
Putting on the sim is can be a challenge for sure until you figure out. And I think even like Tony's problem when we were doing the league thing, it wasn't that you couldn't figure out the sim. You were hitting 8-foot putts that were going 40 feet, and so sometimes
I figure that one out.
Yeah, it can be a little wonky sometimes. Anyway, well, I've started working out, and Tony's started working out again. So see, Tony, I don't think it's been quite as long since you've worked out as it has me. That other than a very short little stint where I maybe went like 3 times, maybe in like August, September, when we first started doing this. This is the first time I've really been in the gym since like 2019. So I knew I was in for knowing this, like I very intentionally, first day was very lightweight, just go through, don't hurt yourself.
Don't pull anything.
And I did not push myself at all, really. In fact, I only did 2 sets. My workout was set for 3 sets of everything. I did 2 sets, lightweight, and I woke up the next day already sore, and I was like, oh, crap. It's bad when you go light and you're still sore. But I was really surprised last week because I think one of my hangups with working out is I didn't really want to try to start working out what we call in season, which I've joked before. I only play inside. There's really not an in season for inside golf. But, I didn't really want to start while I was, trying to play, league play or whatever. But we've got a little month break before the next league starts. I was like, okay, that would be a good time to go ahead and go through the work. But I've been really surprised that it hasn't really affected my performance at all. I'm not, it's not slowed me down, cost me any distance. I'm not sore. I have been working out after I practice. So it's, but I still thought there might be some type of a carryover. But I remember texting you guys Friday morning. I was like, today's not going to be a speed day. I can barely move, but I still was hitting the ball pretty much normal. So I was really surprised by that. I don't know if you guys have any feedback on that at all, but I have no idea why that is. But I was expecting to see like a big dip in, distance, speed, whatever, for the first week or so, but it hasn't seemed to be the case. I guess it's just all the massive muscle that I'm building is compensating for the fact that it's tired, but I don't know if you guys have any other theories.
Well, this is a very non-technical. Tony could probably give you some science behind it, but I think sometimes when you're going in and it's like when you're sick, and you're not expecting much and you just somehow you play well because you're more relaxed. And I think maybe you went in with low expectations. You're like, I should be sore. And you probably were just in a little bit different mental state, and maybe you got into a little flow state. But just because you felt different, and sometimes when you feel different, it affects your mental, and you just maybe came out with a little different performance. So it doesn't shock me.
Yeah. Well, I do have a theory. Tony, do you have something to submit for the group before I give mine?
Let me hear your theory.
Well, my theory is that if anything, I'm pretty pleased with what I've been doing. Even though I haven't been going to the gym, I have been listening to you guys. Okay, and I'm just slowly starting to apply more and more about what you guys hear. It only takes 14 episodes for me to finally start listening. So one of the things is I was like, okay, I need to go to the gym, but I don't want to waste energy and effort doing things that aren't relevant to golf. So I just started thinking about the golf swing piece by piece, muscle by muscle, and thinking, okay, what's the most efficient workout that I can put together that's not going to waste any energy? And so everything that I do corresponds to some type of a movement in golf or a feeling I'm trying to simulate in golf, whatever. And a lot of what I'm doing is with resistance bands, which I really like because you can do the same workout or the same lift a lot of different ways. But the resistance bands to me seems to be like the most relevant to the golf swing because as you're increasing tension, it's getting harder and harder to maintain that tension. And a lot of what we're doing in the golf swing is trying to build tension, right? So like a dumbbell, if I'm trying to do even a curl or something with a dumbbell, once you get past that 90-degree mark or whatever, it actually starts to get easier. But with a resistance band, it's getting harder and harder and harder the more resistance you put on it. So as much as I can, I'm doing that. And I guess all that to say, my theory is that I think that whatever tearing down of the muscles it might be doing, I think it's also being offset by maybe just a little bit better technique. And I'm actually getting my body in the correct positions a little bit better just because that's half of what I'm trying to do. Obviously, build strength is part of it. But the other thing is create the tension in the gym that I want to feel when I'm playing so that I can, when I'm practicing, I can try to, that's proprioception again, that word that I can't say, but you guys seem to think so highly of is, this is a very proprioceptive workout. Every single thing I'm doing is trying to create a sensation that I want to feel. And I'm having a blast doing it because it's like, I think every day I've done it, I go to Sully's and the gym's like 3 minutes down the road. So I just leave Sully's and go there and it feels like an extension of my practice. It's just now I'm practicing without a golf club. So anyway, I don't know. So I'm assuming once the muscles do get recovered, I'll be just destroying the ball with my better technique and stronger muscles. So anyway.
Yeah, my theory is just that again, as you've talked about, you're starting to be more efficient in your movements, less wasted energy. And I just think that your movement patterns are becoming much more fluid and much more correctly timed and sequenced so that again, all you're doing is stretching those lines and letting them go. And whether you're sore or stiff, you're not actively adding to the hit. So the muscles don't really have much to do aside from be stretched and then let go.
Yeah, that's a good point because I was joking when I said that the other day, but Friday was a great time to work on rhythm because I hurt too much to try to swing hard. It was just like, but Tony and I have talked about this a lot on other podcasts and also just texting and talking with each other, but I am finally really starting to get that concept that, I've even started to notice when I accidentally add to it on the way down, I can see that reflected in my swing speed. And it's like the other day I was struggling just a little bit and I just kind of felt out of sorts. I was like, okay, I just gotta now my go-to thought when I want to knock the crap out of it is to slow down. Like it's weird. Like if I'm really trying to step on one, that's my swing thought is just relax. And that does correspond to speed. So I think it's in some ways the workout making me tired and, making my muscle sore is helped me to do that more and more because it hurts too much to add to it. But I don't know, good stuff. And I'm enjoying, I'll send you the workout, Mike, so you can take a look at it. And I welcome feedback. I mean, this was something that it's definitely not Mike Hendricks approved by any means. It's just, it's some of it's stuff that we have worked on before. So I know that it's okay. But, anyway, I'm having a
As
good
long
time
as
with
you're
that.
not as long as you're not stacking dumbbells and standing on them with one foot while trying to overhand chop with a resistance band or a cable.
No box
Have you
jumps.
seen
I
some
do
of those,
remember
Mike, where
that.
like the guys are like doing
Yeah.
handstands, press ups on like dumbbells or other kind of crazy stuff? I'm just like, that's really cool that you have such great stabilizers, but one mistake and you've broken
Yeah.
your neck or something,
Yeah.
or your face is no
Yeah.
longer your face. There comes a point of
Yeah.
diminishing returns.
Yeah, the risk versus reward. You know,
Mhm.
titles they talk about trying to make a movement more complex. You know, how can you make a chest press more complex? You know, sticking somebody on a ball or using a band and or going into a lunge position. You know, whatever it is. But then, yeah, there's this line that you cross about being creative and being cutting edge to where you're just putting your client or yourself in a position where, like, if you get hurt, especially with a sport, like if you're training for golf, you get hurt and then you can't play for 2 weeks. You know, then you're going into rehab and seeing a physical therapist or whatever. So, yeah, that's a great point. I wanna circle back to Sully's because last week was the first time we all three got together and did golf together, and it was so fun. I got to go to Sully's for the first time, and I love it. I wish I was closer to it where I could meet up with you guys more. And you know, I've been frustrated with my swing for years, and I told you guys the story. Like I'm right-handed. I do everything right-handed. Played baseball right-handed, and I made the decision a couple years ago. Like it's just not working. I had college coaches tell me I can't help you. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go left-handed, and I felt good about it. And but it was just awesome for Tony to give me some feedback and just helping me get into a rhythm and not necessarily thinking about hand placement and technique, but I just helping me get into rhythm. And then, like Garrett was saying, not trying to add to on the downswing. Yeah, it was just awesome to be in real time and just all the things that Tony talks about when we're together, but just to do it in real time and have that feedback. And I mean, I'm like a dog, man. You give me a couple like praises, good job, good job. I was like, yeah, let's do it more of it. So just thank you to Tony for helping and you guys for having a good attitude because you guys we played a little candy cane par three, which is kind of where I'm at. And just for you guys to have a good attitude and play left-handed with me, it was really fun. And so hopefully we can do more of that.
Well, and if you can't tell, I'm a huge cheerleader when it comes to my coaching. Like, I'm just, like I love it. I love to hype people up because, when you get to coaching and teaching, or even like you in the fitness side, right? Someone increases their bench press or their squat by 10 pounds, and they don't think that's a big deal, but it is a big deal. Like for a lot of people, that's a huge win. Same thing with
Yeah.
golf. It's tough to feel like you're making good progress when we're just trying to make contact with the ball or we're just trying to understand some basic motion. And so when you can provide that feedback or that encouragement, that really encourages and motivates a student to be like, okay, I'm onto something. Like even if I don't quite have it down yet, at least I know I'm in the right direction. And it's exciting, right? But the other thing I was going to say too is I think you got to give yourself a lot more credit because like Garrett and I are sitting there on the couch watching you, and I'm like, look at his backswing. It looks phenomenal. Look at this. It looks great. Look at that. It looks great. And then we're talking. I'm like, now watch this. And sure enough, Garrett's like, I see it. I see it. And we knew exactly, like, again, where you were lacking. But so it was fun to work with you. And you said a very important thing there at the end. You said, I really enjoyed you guys playing with me, the candy cane thing. And I think a lot of times we forget that golf is a game to be played. It is something to have fun with and it's something to enjoy. Like I went out and played 9 holes today for the first time since I don't know, late November. I just went out with my buddy. We walked 9 holes, and I hadn't hit a golf ball in probably a month or almost a
Mm.
month. It's been so cold and busy and everything in the semester, and I just went out and had fun. I hit 5 or 6 balls in the range to warm up. Bought a hybrid with my my winnings from the year, my little in-shop credit, bought that and put it in play and had a lot of fun and just enjoyed the experience. You know, it was playtime. It wasn't a tournament. It wasn't competing. But we got to remember, like, if we're not doing it because it's enjoyable or fun, then what's the point?
Yeah, and I think that's something that I really there's a couple of guys at Sully's that have texted me and said, "Hey, let's get together and play either on the golf course or even get together at Sully's and play 18 holes." When you're used to being in there, like I'm going in 2-3 hours a day and I'm just pounding ball after ball after ball, and I'm trying to do different things to mix it up and mix up my routine and stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to max out and get as much golf time as I can, right? And as many reps as I can. And getting together with guys from Sully's when and playing 18 holes, yeah, I'm not going to get as many reps in as if it's just me playing by myself, but it's a different you're practicing something different. It's an opportunity because when you go out and play real golf, you're not going to knock out 18 holes in 37 minutes or whatever my average is, right? It's a way to practice. Even for an indoor thing, it's practicing waiting, practicing having to think in between shots and not just being able to rake another ball and hit it. Playing what we did the other day, I thought was a really great exercise for a couple of reasons. Tony was talking about while we were there that a lot of his students, they'll have them hit the ball left-handed because that's what that's what a beginner feels like, right?
Mhm.
So as comfortable as I am, I literally think I could close my eyes and hit a ball 75 yards 8 times out of 10 with right-handed, right? My body just knows what it's doing. Left-handed, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? So I was having to very consciously think about what's the body supposed to do? What would I be doing on this side of
Mhm.
it? And I didn't play great. I was able to make a couple of decent swings throughout the 9 holes or whatever we played. But, there's something I think to be said. Tony, you might know this. Did I hear that Tiger is scratch left-handed? I feel like I've heard that story from some well-known pro or some golfer that their body awareness is so good that they're a scratch golfer left-handed. I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but
I don't know if I've never heard that about Tiger. I mean, my good buddy Colin McCarthy, who I take lessons from and influences my coaching a lot, he's scratched both directions. Like he taught himself how to play left-handed, and yeah,
That's
he
impressive.
yeah, it's pretty
I'm
cool.
I mean, there's very, very few times that I'm ever going to try to hit a shot left-handed. But occasionally you will end up in a situation where you need to be able to turn the club upside down and make contact with it. And if you can I'm not going to carry a left-handed club, so I'd have to be doing it with the club upside down. But no, do I want to spend 2 hours a day practicing left-handed? No. But it's a good thing to mix into your practice time. And I think sometimes, especially for someone like me who loves to just sit there and pound balls ball after ball after ball, it's good to change things up a little bit and do something a little bit more, call it creative or whatever, just to keep it fun. I mean, I love this game. Probably it says a lot about my mental makeup that I love this game so much, but I absolutely love this game. But some days I still don't feel like playing, and it's not my job, right? It's just a hobby, right? But there've been times this week that I've like, man, I really don't feel like going in today, but I should and I want to. But sometimes you can kind of lose the fun a little bit, even for amateurs. It can become a chore instead of something that's fun. So I completely agree with what Tony said. It's a game. Have fun. And I had a great time doing that. That was a blast the other day. So I'm glad we did it. And I hope we can do it a lot more very soon.
Yeah.
And Mike, props to you, man. It was, I was telling Tony, I don't know if you heard this, but you know, you're obviously athletic, right? I mean, you've played sports, you're a trainer, but the other times that I had seen you swing a golf club, you were very rigid and you didn't have that flow that Tony's always talking about. But as you were starting, one of the things that I said to Tony is you're really starting to see Mike's athleticism starting to show, because as you loosened up and you got a lot more fluid, you looked like an athlete. And obviously I knew you were an athlete, but you didn't really look like one with a golf club in your hand first few times I seen you. But as you relaxed, you started to look like the athlete that we knew you are. So it's really cool to see. And man, Tony,
Thank you.
you're a hell of a teacher, Tony, because not just from, it's not like this was a 4-hour lesson with Mike. Mike, you spent what, 15, 20 minutes with him before we got
Yeah.
out there and started playing. I mean, Tony is very efficient. When he says something, you try it, and if it doesn't work, he finds a new way to say it. But I don't know that I've ever not gotten anything out of a session with Tony or a conversation with Tony or anything. I mean, you're very efficient. You get a lot of improvement out of your players in the time that you have with them. So kudos to you on that, man. And I appreciate you sharing
I
that with me.
appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Going back to you saying that, you could tell he's an athlete, but he didn't look like with a golf club at the
I
first.
say that with
Most
love,
high
Mike.
level
I say it with
athletes.
love.
No, yeah, but
That's
but
why I
think
said
about,
that.
like, have y'all seen like LeBron James try to swing a golf club? He started playing golf. Have you seen Charles Barkley? Like, there's a lot of phenomenal athletes who you put that stick in their hands and all sense of athleticism just leaves the premises.
Mhm.
So it's not a unique one off. It's such a different thing. It's such a different concept. It's such a different sport scenario setting, whatever you want to call it. It's just a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to relax. I think because being a former athlete, you know, you go in and pressures you put. We're just talking like performance, right? Like I'm putting pressure on myself. I can feel the tension as I'm driving over there because I'm like, you guys play a lot. I don't want to embarrass myself. And then so I'm tense and I can't, I'm trying to relax and it's no big deal. We're just hanging out, but I still, I don't want to be, no one wants to be the worst guy out there, right? Yeah. So it just took time for me to relax. Yeah. And have fun with it. And so, yeah, but yeah, just piggybacking what Garrett was saying. Yeah. It's, being able to put that person at ease. And that's what I try to do when I'm in the gym, because not everybody feels super comfortable when they come into the gym, right? And so I'm conscious of that. I think Tony's conscious of that when he's working with a student. Yeah, you try to read your client when they come in, and so it's just awesome. It's just cool. I'm used to being on the other side. I'm trying to make the client feel comfortable, and so it's just cool. Tony, as your quasi client, you were trying to find ways to make me comfortable. Find ways to point out little wins. Hey, that was nice. You're there. Stay with that. I'm almost 50, and it's still that performance anxiety. I wish I could turn that off, but it's still I battle that. So.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I used to work out in, like, commercial gyms like Gold's Gym and stuff like that. I'd have people come work out with me and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm nervous. I'm embarrassed. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how much weight I can lift." I'm like, "Listen to me. I promise you, golf and the gym are two of the places with the most egocentric, self-centered people you'll ever meet in your life. They don't care what you're doing. They don't even know you exist when they're in the gym, right? Like, you go to, like, a commercial gym or the driving range, ain't nobody looking up and down at you. They're focused on their own swing. They're focused on their own mental demons. They're focused on their own bicep peak, whatever the case may be. Like, unless
That's
you are
true.
an attractive looking potential mate, they don't care about you. You know? They don't care one bit. So that's just one of those things where it's like, to try to ease people's minds that ain't nobody checking for you at the gym or whatever, unless you look like Garrett, then they are because they're like, "Ooh, look at that stud,"
Look at that
then they're
guy.
looking for you. But
Well,
uh-huh.
those people haven't been going to the gym that I'm going to.
Don't sleep on your mock turtleneck you got today. I like the high collar there.
Yeah, I think Tuesdays are the only day of the week that I actually wear a decent shirt because that's the one day I have to do something like out of from away from the house other than Sully's. I pretty much go from the house to the kids' school, back to the house to Sully's, and back to the house most days, so I don't have to wear anything nice.
Yeah, I was not shocked that everyone at Sully's knew your name. It's like,
Yeah,
do you want the regular? Like whatever your regular drink is or whatever. Yeah, the
yeah,
usual Garrett. Or
yeah,
hey Billy, hey Sally.
yeah. I'm very much like Norm from Cheers when I walk into
Yeah,
Sully's. They pretty much know me. I did throw him for a curveball when I we joked at one point, I think, that I tried to cut back on beer. And when I tried to cut back on beer, it kind of threw them off to start with because I come in, they're like, Miller Lite? And I'm like, no, just a water today. Thank you. And they're like, wait, do what? Are you okay? It's like, yeah, it's just 10 o'clock in the morning. They're like, yeah, but that doesn't usually affect you. But anyway, one of my other commitments over the off season, I guess, has been to really dig in on short game work a little bit more and commit to that a little bit more. And I think we talked about the wedge ladder at some point. It's something that's super easy to do on at Sully's. It's a game you can set up, but you can do it at the driving range or whatever. But I've I think I've done that the last 3 days, and I'm finding ways to like keep track of it so I can compete with myself and try to push myself to get better at it and things like that. But it's been a really cool way there's a lot of benefits to it besides just hitting golf balls or besides just working on your short game, because you have to swing with a good sequence. There's no reason to try to overpower it or try to go max speed. You have to have a little bit of finesse, and it's a great way to even work on some mechanics, like just your basic fundamental mechanics, the way the way you have to shift your weight. If you don't get your weight shift on a short shot, you can't hit it good. There's not enough time to make up for it with your hands. So as I'm trying to implement different changes to my swing, I don't even know if I'm saying changes so much as I'm taking that stuff from the gym and trying to apply it to my golf swing. Some of those same things for a full swing apply to the short ones also, but you can feel those changes take effect a little bit more on the shorter shots and the small shots. I know that's something Tony's talked about a little bit before, that, slowing me down, it kind of correlates to slowing me down, but one of the ways to slow me down is to shorten my swing. And these little 30-yard shots, I have to slow down because I'm swinging, a much, I'm not, you just stop putting as much energy into it. So I'm just surprised, I guess, at how much it doesn't feel like I'm working on short game. It feels like an extension of my full swing practice. It's just working on a smaller segment of my full swing. So seeing a lot of cool things coming out of that. And I'm also getting, pretty deadly inside of 100 yards. So that's that's helpful.
I mean, like, if you can learn how to master a 20 to 30, 20, 30, and 40-yard carry with like a sand wedge or something like that, you will have to be able to move efficiently at a very slow tempo. And that'll help you a lot just to get the sequence right and everything. It gives you the ability to slow down enough to be able to focus on all the things that you want to make and implement into the full speed stuff. Does that make sense? Because to hit a 30-yard pitch shot or a 40-yard pitch shot, that's like one of the hardest. I think it's 40 to 80 yards is one of the hardest windows for most people, even tour players. It's just because it's so slow and off speed that they don't have the awareness, the proprioception, the self control, even just to be so soft and gentle with it. Everything is hard, 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 fast, hit it hard, hit it hard. And so when you really dial in and spend a lot of time in that window, I'd call it 20 to 60 yards, you learn a lot. You learn a ton.
For sure, because again, simulators are really good at teaching you exactly where that line in the sand is. I've always felt like those mid-range shots were difficult. Now I can quantify it and tell you it's inside 20 yards, because for me is that line. So anything, 20 to 60, because inside of 20 is where I seem to, when I go in and do the wedge ladder, the first shot's 25 yards, and that's basically hip high to hip high with very little energy. Just that's the shortest form of the golf swing that I can make and still call it a golf swing. Anything less than that, I'm basically weight on the left side, and it's just a form of a chip or a pitch. And then by the time I get to about 75 yards, that's some form of a full swing to me. I'm getting my hands up to shoulder height on the way back. It may not be a full turn, but that's more or less a full-ish 60 degree. So anything in between that, it's a golf swing, but it's not a full golf swing. And it's not, you got to be careful not to, I get so pissed off when I hit these little 40-yard, you're moving your way up a ladder, right? So it's 25, 35, 45, whatever. You get to the 45-yard shot, and then like my next 3 attempts at the 55-yard shot, I'll go 47 because I can't figure out how much energy I need to put to it. So then I try to put just a little bit more energy into it, and it goes 67. And it's like, dang, it's trying to find that balance. And one of the things that's been really frustrating to me lately is I will, in the working on technique part, I'll do something that maybe gets me just a little bit more efficient through the ball, lowers my attack angle or my launch angle or whatever. So I hit the 75-yard shot like 82, and I have to go back to 65. And then I hit the 65-yard shot 78 because I'm still doing that. And I have chased this thing all the way back down to like 35 or 25 before I finally, I end up just having to like restart it, because the thing that I was doing that made me hit it farther, I'm now having to, I'm still fighting that as I'm having to hit shorter and shorter shots. So it's a really cool drill to try to develop that feel, because it's not, you spend a lot of time going back and forth between yardages because the way it works, you have to hit 2 shots to graduate to the next level. But if you miss one, you have to go back to the previous level, or you can start all the way back over. So I was even having a hard. I said I'm trying to figure out a way to like quantify it so I can like compete with myself, because there's days that I would say, well, success is how far up the ladder did you get? Well, there have been times that I might have made it to the 95 mark, but I bladed the 35-yard shot. It just happened to land in that window, right? But that was the only time I made it past 35 the entire day. Then there's other days that it's like I never missed the circle by more than a foot, but I was constantly missing it by a foot and going from 55 to 45, 55 to 45, back and forth. And so it's been kind of a hard thing to figure out how to grade and how to, say, okay, was this a good day or a bad day? But definitely a good way to work on slowing yourself down and finding, just developing some tempo. And that helps when you do play, because when you are 35 yards or 45 yards, you at least have some type of a benchmark to say, okay, this is how I do this in that drill. So anyway, been a cool
It'd be
add-on.
like a basketball player. Yeah, it'd be like a basketball player wants to be well-rounded, but all they ever do is practice dunks and free throws.
That's it. Yeah. That's exactly
Cool.
right.
You're a specialist at those two things, but anything else that's needed in the game, you got nothing.
Yeah.
So, and again, I keep saying this, especially for those of us as we get older, right? Like, it's a way to save your body.
Yeah.
It's a way to save energy. It's a way to save wear and tear, especially if you're hitting off mats, to have low impact shots, not full speed everything.
See, I think driver is the best way to minimize wear and tear, because you're not pounding the ground with the driver. So that's the best way that's why I hit so many drivers. Keeps me from messing up my wrist joints. Question for you, Tony. This might be a tough one, but without getting up, I need you to verbally explain to me what exactly coiling means. You say, we talk a lot about coil it and then release it. Coil it, then release it. I'm having a really hard time because I've got to have like an ABC step by step of what all this stuff is, and I can't figure out for the life of me how to coil.
So I got the little stuffed animal here, right? Let's say it's in golf posture. What I mean by coiling is my dog's getting jealous now because I'm playing with a stuffed animal and not her. Boy.
This may be an outtake, but
Okay.
this is the most epic segment of the Best Golf Podcast ever.
I want to see that
you
stuffed
don't have to
animal
get up.
rotate.
Yeah.
This
is the target. The camera's the target. Yeah, that's what you wanted. Coiling and releasing basically is there's a rubber band that connects down here all the way around the stuffed animal to here. So as we shift and coil, watch what's going to happen. Okay. I'm just going to let go. And it goes. And it unwinds.
So which muscles?
So you're welcome.
This could be the best demo you've ever done.
That's right. Now notice when I do this, right? So coiling is basically the shoulders turning, the chest turning against some form of resistance of the lower body. And we talked a little bit a long time ago about Jim McLean and the X Factor, and how I said what he's talking about technically is not a flawed concept. He's talking about, or at least the way I understand them to talk about it, is creating separation between the lower body and the upper body. That disassociation we're talking about in TPI. But I think where people get in trouble is the way they try to create that separation is by actively firing the hips in the downswing, firing, while leaving the upper body back. I don't think you have to do any of that. I think you just have to rotate and coil the upper body against the lower body. Then it's the shift to the lead side that enhances that coil, creates that stretch without letting this unwind. So we coil it, we shift, and then woof, it just unwinds, right? That's how it works. Coil it, release it. Coil it, release it. And that's that free energy that you get into the shot.
I have so many more questions now than I had.
So good.
That, as a teacher, Mike, that's a teacher for you. Give me a stuffed animal. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
If you are still watching at this point in the video, now would be a great time to encourage you to like this video. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel too. It's amazing how much you see. As I see the likes go up, those videos perform a lot better also. So look, even if you don't really like it, if you're still listening, just go ahead and like it. It would really help. I have maybe more questions now than I had 5 minutes ago, but that's okay. What muscles was Roscoe flexing when he was coiling up right there? Is
First of
this
all,
because
that's a
I think that's
she.
oh,
That's
it's
a
a she.
she. It's
Sorry,
not a
sorry.
he. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, you're gonna have all the lead
I'm
side.
sorry. Is your stuffed animal anatomically correct? How do we know this?
Because my daughter named it. It's a girl.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what muscles would she? I'm not even sure flexing is the right word, but it's one of these things. You and I stretching. You and I
Stretching,
talk,
coiling.
and that might be a different direction to ask the question too. You and I were talking about this last night. I think it was a profound point to me that, if I'm not mistaken, the Jim McLean X Factor way back in the day, it's the separation at the top of your backswing. Somewhere along the line, I don't know if it's the industry that changed it or just my head that changed it, but I started thinking that it was about impact and how much disconnect was there at impact. But that's completely wrong, because you're creating that rubber band stretch on the way back and letting it go by impact. So it's about how much can you create at the top of your backswing. And it goes back to a question in the gym too, because that hip, I'm trying to figure out how I want to strengthen the hip muscles in the gym, because all of the resistance bands exercises that I've seen basically tell you to go to the top of your backswing and then rotate your hips from that position. And technically that is the movement that your muscles do in that stretch, but it's not done from the top of your backswing. And I think when you do that in the gym, it makes you want to spin your hips out and do that, basically what I do. So what you're really trying to do is, as you turn your shoulders, you need the strength in your hips and the flexibility in your hips to be able to resist that movement. So that because if I try to turn my hips 80 degrees and I get my shoulders to 100 degrees, that's not a very powerful position. I would be better off having my shoulders at 80 degrees and my hips at 30 or even 50 or wherever, So it's about, that's where that stretch is between the shoulders and the hips. But there are a lot of different ways that I play around with this. There's a lot of different ways that I can get my shoulders turned more than my hips. I can do that through my stomach, my obliques, through my chest, through my arms. There's a lot of different ways I can contort myself to get myself into that position. And I'm not sure which one's the right one.
Yeah, so just imagine that there's a rubber band from, let's call it the lead shoulder down to the hip, like a seatbelt,
Mhm.
right? So as you stretch against that, right, that's what gives you that spiral line. If you look at the
Mhm.
fascial line system, you look at a spiral line, it basically goes up the body in a coil like a spiral. So that's all it is. I mean, it's literally just getting that coiled so that all you have to do is shift it, maintain the coil a little bit, and then you get a free ride of energy. Like, even just doing that, if you just stretch and turn your shoulders, your upper torso into your chair or wherever, if you just turn it and then just move forward without letting it go, you can feel that stretch. You'll feel it, all the whole lead side will basically be stretched. And then again, it just let it go. You feel that,
I
Mike?
do.
Yep.
I remember you mentioning
If you
that
now do
last
it
week.
so do it incorrectly though, and now as you shift, let your upper body unwind as you're shifting forward. You lose all of that.
Yeah.
It's all gone. Yeah. So we just need that little bit of separation, and then it's free energy. It's right. And what most people, again, I use this analogy all the time, rather than stretching the rubber band, the slingshot, and letting it go, what they're doing is this: no stretch, no stretch, no stretch. Let's try to create a stretch and downswing and then somehow get it to let out. It's just like,
Yeah.
why would you ever do that? Why would you ever try to add energy into the downswing to create a stretch and then figure how in the world am I going to time this back out?
Yeah. So on a practical, like the weekend warrior like me, so you guys were talking about that last week. Like because I don't know, uh, I don't trust the old saying of, let the club do the work. Like I'm going into a backswing and then I'm trying to create, because in my mind I've stopped everything and now I'm trying to create club head speed. I'm trying to create something, and then it looks like I'm trying to kill the thing. And so for me, I deal with low back issues, and I get so, I told you guys, what if I ever play 18, I'm exhausted by 12 holes. I'm just so tired because of over swinging. And Tony is like, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be tired. So yeah, I'd love to be able to play more and not be exhausted. Like I think that's why Garrett's able to practice for 2 hours, is because he's not like fighting himself as much, on the downswing. Whereas, that just the weekend warrior, I'm trying to create something because I don't understand like what you're saying, that rubber band, and then like you said, way back when, just let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like if you think about it, you say low back pains. Well, if you were sitting there trying to rotate your hips over and over and over and add that energy into the hips late
Yeah.
and
Oh,
aggressively,
just wrecks
what do you
wrecks
think?
me.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen? Yeah, what do you think's going to happen, right? Um, versus if we do all of our work early, then we don't have anything else to do but just passively just like let it go and ride to the
Yeah.
finish. And again, think about what would be a more consistent system mechanically. You take that. What were you saying? You're using the medicine, not medicine balls, the stretchy bands.
Yep. Tubing,
Resistance
the
bands.
tubes.
Resistance band or tubing or whatever. If I attach that to a hook on the thing and I pull it back and let it go, it's going to be extremely repeatable, right? Extremely. Now let's say if I tried to, for some reason, I don't know, not have it on the hook and then try to throw it and hook it on the hook and then pull it back and throw it back on the hook. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, just I love the resistance bands for a whole lot of reasons, and one of them is, even I don't care what movement I'm making. It could be a curl for all I care. But I was doing this the other day. I was actually showing Public Framing #1. Just installed those. I took the resistance bands and I was trying to explain to him, like, to get your arm. I'm trying to get his arms up a little bit more. And I was telling him, like, if you just hold the resistance bands, stand on the middle of the band and just try to raise it up. One thing that you can feel from that is, okay, I'm doing this, whatever shoulder lifting motion to get it up, but you've got tension in it here, right? If I just relax, it's gonna go back down. And
Mhm.
you don't really gain anything from trying to make it go down faster. It already wants to go down fast. You don't have to do anything. But the other thing about that is that, hell, that's easy as crap to do. You take it up and it's the relaxing that creates the speed, because you've already got, in that case, say a 50-pound resistance band, you've got 50 pounds of tension trying to get out. As soon as you let it let it go, that's what it's going to do. So as you it's not the same motion, obviously, but that's the sensation you're creating in the golf swing, is you're creating that tension like you're, stretching a resistance band. And then on the way down, it's just letting it go, and it comes out. And it's crazy to me that is, as I keep working on it more and more, it's like, it seriously is. The more I add to the downswing, the worse I hit it, and the less power I have. It's not creating a bit of extra power for me to throw those hips in. I still do it sometimes because it's just a bad habit I'm getting out of, but I never consciously fire the hips because it's done nothing to give me any extra distance ever, and I just didn't
So
realize it.
yeah, so next time you go to the gym, put a resistance band on like a cross beam, a support pillar of a squat rack or whatever, and take it and rotate your upper body against it, and then see how it feels to just let it whoop, go back with the band. Right, you'll feel it's a free ride of energy.
Would you put
Or
that on the
imagine
ground so you're kind of coiling in a vertical, diagonal
I
direction,
would
or just
just
do
do
it?
it. I would just do it perfectly vertical so that you can get the
Okay.
feeling. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And then also a good visual would be like, let's say we had someone and we wrapped them up in a really long bed sheet. You know, how you used to do when you're kids, you wrap someone up in a rug or something like that. And then what happens when you go whoosh and you pull it, they just unwind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're doing is we're stretching it so that all we have to do is oof, let it go and then it unwinds.
Yeah.
That's also how you dispose of a body too. So,
Another thing I was thinking about today is, as we've covered at length, I tend to max things out. Everything I do is max, 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 everything I can do. Okay. So for me, if you tell me, I want to have 45 degrees of separation between my shoulders and my abdomen, and then another 45 degrees between my abdomen and my hips, and another, 20 degrees of shoulder protraction in my left arm, and all these, I'm going to max out and stretch out as far as I possibly can in the golf swing in all directions. But another thing I'm starting to know, I'll tell you what prompted this. I went back and was just thinking about something that they said on the athletic motion video about the spine angles, that if you max out one of the three movements you can make with the spine, it limits what you can do in the other. So I think part of the reason that I don't have a whole lot of left bend at the top of my backswing is I'm trying to max out my shoulder rotation. So the more I try to rotate my T-spine, the less ability I have to bend my T-spine. So it just got me kind of thinking for a normal person, I know we all have different ranges of motion and mobility and all that kind of stuff, but just taking, and I don't even know if you can do this, but if somebody comes in and they do the 17-point TPI assessment and they score a 2 out of 3 on all 17 movements, just an average mobility, are we maxing out in any direction in our golf swing? There's a lot of different ways I can get the club to parallel without feeling like I'm like maximizing my extension or maximizing my shoulder turn. Are we really trying to max anything out, or is it just a balance of a little bit of this, a little bit of that? And that's part of it's kind of related to the question about coiling, but is coiling almost entirely in the shoulders and getting your shoulders turned as much as you can, your core turned as much as you can, your arms extended, or is it just kind of a balance of all of those things?
I think the answer is you coil as much as the shot requires. You coil as much as the energy you need to produce, right? I'm
As
not going to
much as
coil.
possible.
No.
As
On that
much
30
power
yard
as
pitch
possible.
shot, on that 30-yard pitch shot, you don't need to stretch the rubber band as far
But
as you
when I
need to stretch
do
on.
need
Hold
to, when
on,
I need,
hold on, hold on, hold on. What you need to do is get the sequence correct so that you have the stretch, then you can then release. Now ask your question.
when I need to hit a shot that has 3 digits and starts with a 3, how much coil am I going to do in that shot?
As much as the shot requires. So you're going to coil as much as your body will allow you to safely do to
Yeah.
get the most efficient energy out of the swing.
Yeah. But it's not because do you see this a lot, Tony, where somebody is trying so hard to max out one particular movement? Try to keep your left arm as straight as possible. Try to rotate your shoulders as far as possible. And it's the doing. For me, it's ironic to me. I do this today. Just I feel like on video and looking at different things, I felt like I needed to try to feel a little bit more right bend through the ball. And I hit 2 balls, one where I tried to right bend and one where I tried to feel almost the opposite. And it was the opposite that was actually correct, because when I tried to right bend, it ended up being something that like I took away some of that. It just put me in a messed up position. It wasn't the correct position.
Yeah,
So
I don't like extremes in either direction. And I
yeah,
think a lot of
better
times
way of asking my question. That's better.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
extremes.
I just think extremes lead to injuries. Extremes lead to problems, right? And in golf, we don't need a 1 in 10 swing. We need hopefully 70 or less swings is what we need in a round of golf. If you're long driving, sure, those guys are maxed out, beyond maxed out. Remember Jamie Sadlowski? The amount of shoulder turn he had was insane, right? But it's just like building a race car or whatever. If you go all gas, no brakes, you're maxed out on one side and you can't make a corner because you can't slow down, or the block can't handle the horsepower, so it blows up. So it's just there's a balance to everything. That's why I said whatever the shot demands. And what most people find is, rather than going full out with driver, what we need to do is get the maximum efficiency and accuracy ratio. So what energy effort level gives me the best of both worlds, where I hit the most balls in play and I only give up 15 yards of distance. See what I'm saying? And for most people, that's not max out.
Yeah.
Guarantee
Well,
you Roy
because
could hit it
it's
harder than he does on tour. Guarantee you, Jordan Spieth could hit it harder than he does on tour.
well, and what I start to notice is we did this at Sully's last week. After we finished our 9-hole, we did a long drive, and the first time, I think I only hit 1 out of 6 in play, and this is like a 50-yard wide fairway. And then Tony steps up and beats me with my driver
On the first
and
swing.
on the first swing. And I'm like, we're doing this again because that's totally not right. And I don't know why I said this or what prompted, but I said, I'm going to beat you this time and hit all 6 balls in play. And I didn't do it. I only got like 3 out of 6 in play, but I think all 6 did land in the fairway. They just rolled out of it on either side.
No, they were
But you
solid
made the
strikes,
point.
yeah.
You made the point afterwards that my swings, my ball speed and my distance was actually higher on that one than it was the one before. And that's not just taking the bit. I think my longest drive was like 309 or something. And then all the others were like 268, 274 or something. The last time it was like 312 was my longest, but all like 5 out of 6 were above 300. They were all much more consistent strikes. And you made the point. See, that's my point. The harder when you're just trying to get it in play, you got it in play and actually hit it farther.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I keep. And I'm getting better at it. I swear I am. I'm not quite there yet, but it's like I am doing it more. I'm remembering it more often now than I used to. But it's like that's my flaw that keep. Everybody has swing flaws, right? And that they just can't get rid of. And the one that keeps creeping back into me is overswinging. But overswinging might gain me 1 mile per hour of club head speed on average. I mean, that's it. It's every single time I just kind of dial it back, I lose 2 miles an hour of club head speed and I pick up 7 miles an hour of ball speed and 10 yards of distance. I mean, so that's where it goes back to, like, when you do try to talk about tension, I tried a couple of shots today. Just when I do create that maximum coil, I find it harder to get out of that because even though you should want to unwind it, it's like the weight shift or something. It's harder to transition because I'm trying to go back as fast as I can or as hard as I can to get as much coil as I can get there. And then it's almost like I go too far for it to be comfortable to let out. But when I just try to coil naturally, it's easy to let it out. You know, I think sometimes we put ourselves in these really uncomfortable positions that just it robs us of consistency and distance. So
Yeah, and the other thing that happens with most people when they go too hard is they just generate too much spin with the driver, so they lose distance anyways. So there's
yeah.
that maximum efficiency, as I've said. We're going to get the most consistent centered club face strikes. You're going to get the most consistent launch angle and spin ratios. That's what we're going for. That's
Yeah.
that's how you play better golf, is keeping the ball in play, even if on your max effort you give up 20 yards, 30 yards, right? So what? If it stays in play consistently and you have a chance to hit the green in 2 or hit the par 5 in 3, that's really the name of the game.
That's another thing we talked about before with the wedge ladder that I like is that, you know, as I'm going up through my sequence, 75 yards is about a full lob wedge, but I'm not really that's probably the first time I feel like I'm taking the club all the way to pretty much to the top, but I'm not really putting a lot of energy into it. The 85-yard shot's what I would say is probably stretching a lob wedge for what I'm comfortable doing. But I can hit, if I'm really trying to, I could probably hit a lob wedge 105, 110. If you gave me $100, if I could do it, I might could hit it that far. But at 95, I'm not comfortable doing that. I'll go to this 56 and just because I get so comfortable hitting these little easy, like what I almost feel like 3/4 shots, that it's like, why would I want to hit this as hard as I can? And that same principle applies all the way up the ladder at 175-yard shot too. It's like, yes, I can stretch an 8-iron that far, but I'm positive that I can hit a nice little controlled 7-iron. It'll be 4 feet lower and a heck of a lot more controlled. And so you get to a point where until you get into the really long clubs and you've got to stretch it a little bit, yes, you can, but why would you? Starts to kind of become your question a little bit. And the only problem, and here's the only caveat to that, is that I really have found some of these especially recently, where it's like, okay, I'm 162, so rather than trying to stretch a 9, I'm going to just kind of cozy an 8. But because I tried to cozy the 8, I hit it 177 because I really did release all the energy. So
You're
it's
too efficient.
too efficient. Yeah, it's like such a cliche, but it's crazy how much we keep talking about this over and over and over again, but every time we get together, I've worked on it a little bit more, and it's just keeps blowing my mind how it's still less energy, still less, the less energy I put into the downswing, the better. So one other question real quick on the releasing part. So when you say coil it and release it with the body, we've talked about that. You're creating some tension in your arms. Like for me, the left jab that I'm doing in the gym with the resistance bands, you're protracting your left shoulder and you're also adducting or abducting. You're coming across your body, but that's not something that you necessarily want to release early in the downswing, right? You're going to try to hold that tension at least into impact, right? You're going to keep
Well,
that
so that's
arm.
just that initial, again, that's that initial shift. And then after that, it will start to release.
But at impact, would you still be, where's your left arm going to be in this plane at impact? Is it going to be across your body or basically in a straight line with your?
Yeah, for most, you see most good golfers, it's still going to have some pinch right here.
Okay.
Supported, it's called a supported strike through the shot. I mean, if it's all the way out here, then obviously that's just not feasible, right?
Yeah.
It still needs to be here. But what I'm saying is, what most people do if they're leading with the hips is it's still pinned across their chest. And then they're too far behind. They have to like drop it and rotate it or whatever. Or and a part of a reason why that happens is they didn't create any stretch in the backswing, any coil in the backswing. So when they start turning, they get that initial stretch. And by then it's just too late for it to go back out.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. And then what happens is you get to a point in the downswing, and this is not a conscious thought at all, that basically if you keep doing what you're trying to do, you're not going to come anywhere close to making contact with the ball. So then your body has to release that some way or another to find the ball. And I think what I'm starting to learn is that you can have some conscious thoughts on the backswing, maybe especially in the takeaway, if you're working on some stuff and you're working on some technical stuff. But as far as what you're doing in the downswing, once you make the shift, whatever you think let it out means is what it means. Let it all out. Every bit, anything that you've created in the backswing, you're not really trying to hold anything. Hands, arm, I know we did the video on lag and talking about, but there's really nothing that you're trying to hold on to in the downswing. You're pretty much trying to return right back to your address position by just after impact. Is that a correct way of saying it?
And a good way to test that for people is check your balance and your finish. If you can't stand still in your finish, like when Mike was first starting at the Suds the other day, like what Gary and I were watching was like when we call it add. When you were adding in the downswing, your whole balance and everything was completely thrown off in the finish, right? He was stumbling, trying to find your balance. Because again, we're adding energy rather than riding the wave and balancing.
And really, if you're thinking about the physics of it, because I know I told you this the other day, there was a video that I looked at of mine the other day. It looked fast when I'm looking at it, but as I slowed it down and looked at it segment by segment, it was only fast through the impact zone. It was pretty slow back, and it was really slow post follow through. But it was just right there at impact. There was a lot of speed. That's that released energy. But if you would have frozen that video at impact and just watched the follow through, you would have thought I was hitting like a 60-yard shot. It was just a really, because if you don't want to have any energy left in the follow through, the energy all gets dumped into the ball, hopefully. So I never could understand how Freddie Couples could hit it that far, but it's because he let all of his energy go into the golf ball. He didn't have anything left for the follow through. So it's been cool to watch. But what y'all got going on for Christmas? Big Christmas plans or?
Well, we got Christmas Eve at Tony's, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's actually at Tony's it's at the house with the residence of our biggest fan of the Best Golf Podcast ever.
That's true. The biggest fan ever. We got ribs. Supporter. We got drinks. I mean, good time. Well, y'all got to bring your own drinks, but we got ribs. Be fun. Yeah.
Mike, remind me of
you
that.
guys,
I don't want to come
apparently people are excited to meet you all. They said, you mean the guys? Like, yeah, the guys. So y'all are celebrities, at least in the one or two households.
That's awesome.
No, I just,
It's Mike's handsome face.
I just got my kids with me for a nice long stretch, and I'm looking forward to that. My twin brother's coming up to visit.
I don't have my kids. So after I see you guys Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I'm flying out to go see my brother and his family up in Chicago, the frozen tundra. But I've spent many a holidays. They've been up in Chicago for 20 plus years, and so I've spent many a holidays up there, and just looking forward to that instead of being by my lonesome. For 4 or 5 days, I get to go hang out with my bro, so it'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. Well, I'm looking forward to Christmas Eve. That'll be fun. I love doing the podcasts, and this is a lot of fun. But it's whenever we can get together in person, whether it's playing left-handed golf or shooting videos or whatever. I always look forward to that. So this will be the first time I think we've ever gotten together in person that there's absolutely nothing to do with golf. So we'll just get to enjoy each other's company with no golf talk.
Well, there will be.
Talk anyway.
That's just may not be recorded.
Yeah.
I'm sure Garrett will find a way to work his glutes in and all kinds of stuff.
We haven't talked about my glutes in a while, actually. That's I'm not actually. You know what? I'm not even really working my glutes in my workout, except for I guess the deadlift is technically some glutes, but
yes.
no, I'm leaving my butt alone. No glutes this time.
Well, I think we should, Garrett, you should just set your phone up like on a bar or table somewhere and just let it go for a little bit and just see what kind of video we can get at the Christmas party.
That could be fascinating. That'll be really interesting. Well, enjoyed it, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you Christmas Eve. Looking forward to that. Always enjoy doing this and appreciate your time and advice. It's really, I may be working on becoming a great little test project for before and after. Between me and Mike, we're going to be able to take his before and after from the other day and my before and after from August, and really, really shine a light on the brilliance of your teaching. So appreciate it. And see y'all next time. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Peace.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Got,
you already
got one of my kids' stuffies here. See if this will work.
You'll be okay for 30 minutes.
Very good.
Just hang tight. We're putting Tony Rosselli.
Yep. And
Action.
Okay.
Yeah, bud. Yes.
That's going to make one of the most epic opening video clips ever.
That's it. Yeah.
This little stuffed animal.
That is definitely going to be going into the YouTube thumbnail.
So you ready? You ready for how you tell or how you can make
boy.
this the boy dog or the girl dog?
Oh, gosh.
Live podcasting.
Okay.
This is why we don't do live podcasting.